Hello and welcome to this video. In case you're new here, hi, I'm Sweeney, and in this DIY we will be transforming this oversized white linen pants, which I think my legs could fit on just one side of this pants, into this nice beautiful button-down skirt which can be worn like this, with a little bit of leg action, and then it can also be worn with a little bit of modesty. It looks quite nice, and then it can also be worn in like the front, with the buttons being at the front. So if you'd like to know how I did this, just keep watching. Okay, so for the first step, I'm just going to rip off the pants and I'm just going to cut the seam from the inside. I would have used a seam ripper for this, but since I won't be really needing that material from there, plus I do have a lot of material to work with, I just used the scissors. But in case the pants that you're using are quite small and the fabric might not be enough for you, it's better to seam rip so that you can maximize the material. So I just went ahead, did the same thing on both legs. And once I was done, we have this mid part, so you're just going to open up the pants around that area, but ensure that you're not touching the back piece, because of course you need something to cover up your So the next step is that I'm going to cut off the place with the zip because I don't need it. So ensuring that the side seams are aligned, I just went ahead and cut out the place where the zip was. Remember, we're using buttons, but in case you'd want yours to have the zip, do not get rid of it. But as the title says, it's a button down skirt. Clearly it needs to have buttons and not a zip. So after that, we're going to cut off that back bit, the one that usually carves out, because we don't need it. But I realized when I was sewing, I realized that I had left out a bit of space. So you'll just need to take your time on it. You're just going to sew at the back, and every time you sew, you can just try it on to see how it fits you, because I realized that mine had left that curve for the butt, of which it's not that big, so I had to keep on reducing it until it fitted my curve quite well. So just keep on trying and ensure that it fits all your curves as it is supposed to be. So I just went ahead and did the sewing. I also hemmed all the edges around so that the fraying will not be there, and also for that nice clean finish. It took a lot of time because clearly this material is quite big and the skirt is also quite long, but I can't complain. Yeah. So after that, we're going to attach the buttons. I went for these brown buttons because I feel like they just gave me a nice vintage vibe, and then considering that the material was a linen, they just go so well together. So I just went ahead and took a tape measure to just measure how far apart I'd want my buttonholes and buttons to be. So for me, I went for 2.5 inches. You can make your spaces to be wider or narrow, it just depends with you, but for me, I went to the 2.5-inch space. And then for the button, I just went ahead and measured the size of my waist to know where I'm going to have that first button at, so that it fits my waist quite nicely. And I went ahead marking all the rest of the areas where I'm going to be sewing the buttons. And as you can see, even as I'm placing the buttons, the button where my waist is a bit farther than the rest, but that's because my waist is definitely smaller and my hips needed a little bit of more space, so I had to maximize it. And then for the buttonholes, I just use scissors to go ahead and make the holes, and after that you can just do a zigzag stitch around the buttonhole so that they do not fray, and also so that they can look nice and neat. If you do not have a sewing machine, you can also do this using your thread and needle. So I went ahead and I finished making the buttonholes, and I also went ahead and put on the buttons. Also, when you're making the buttonholes, ensure that the buttonholes are big enough for your buttons to easily pass through it, and also be careful so that you do not have your buttonholes being so big, because clearly they will not hold your buttons. And once you were done, we had our nice button down skirt, which looks really nice. I really do love it. I feel like this DIY was really simple, and it literally took me a very short time to do this. I hope you try this out. It does not have to be as loose as mine. You can use jeans for this, because the technique is literally the same. And that's it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you happen to try this out, you can definitely tag me on my Instagram. You can also follow me there, and I hope to see you on my next video. Bye, guys.